Hi guys, my name is Becca and welcome back to my channel. Today I have my mid-month wrap-up for the month of June. I read 4 books in the first 2 or so weeks. I'm filming this a little early. I normally film this on the second or third Friday of every month, just like where it's like in the middle. I film, my mid-month wrap-up. But I am working a lot this week, and normally I have Fridays off, or at least I'm off early enough on a Friday that I can come and make this video, but it's not my luck this week. So I'm filming this a few days early, and I have 4 books here. And then I have some of my currently reads that I'm going to talk to you about. So let's start with the first book that I read for the month, and that was Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. This is the 3rd and final book in the Daughter's Book and Bone trilogy. And I really enjoyed it. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy it. I liked the ending. I thought it was a really solid end, and I loved that all of my characters were together. In the second book, which was fine, but I felt like all my characters were just, in separate places, and I really wanted them all to come together, which they do, but it just wasn't until later. But in this book, you get them all together, and it's perfect. It starts right where the second book ended, and it's just action-packed, pretty much. I mean, I wouldn't say like every chapter is action-packed, but I feel like it's a lot more action-y than the second one. And I really love that 2 races come together to defeat the common enemy, which was really, really good. There was a drawback. There was one con that I had with this book. And that was this new character. And I felt like this in the second book as well, where we had these characters that I knew nothing about. They weren't introduced to the story until this, which there were a lot of new characters in the second book because they weren't introduced in the first book, for reasons that you will know if you read the first book. But I felt like these characters didn't really have any relevance to the story at all for me. That was my, personal opinion. And then in this one we get another new character, which you don't understand why this person is in the story until the very end. Like, literally, it's like here. And I was so bored every time this character, even if this character is interacting with any of my favorite characters, I was bored. I did not care for this character at all. This character is away from all of my characters, so we have to leave all of my characters to, find out what this character is going through. And I felt disconnected from the story. I felt like, you had all these interesting chapters, with all my characters. I was really into it. I was engrossed in it. And then, boom, there's this character, and I'm like, oh, great. I have to leave the story and go to you. Why? That's how I felt. I felt like I was leaving the story behind to get to this person. And I just wasn't, I wasn't thrilled with this character. I didn't care for this character. And then even when I found out this character's relevance to the story, I didn't care. I was just so bored every time I had to read about this character. I just did not like it. But that was the only thing I didn't like about this. I did feel there was, when you do find out the relevance of this character, when this character finally tells you why this character is here, pretty much, I was so utterly confused. Which I can't tell you about because it is the end. But I was so confused as to what this character was saying and why it was just so bad. That was the only thing I didn't like. If this character wasn't in the story, I probably would have loved it a lot more, but I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I still really enjoyed it, and overall I really enjoyed the trilogy, and I'm glad that I finally finished it, and I'm glad I finally picked them up, because I did really enjoy it. Alright. Next up, we have from Twinkle Was Loved by Sandhya Menon. Now, I read When Diplomat Rishi last year. If you guys are following me on my channel, you know this. I read it last year. I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was fantastic. I loved it. Now we gotta talk about this book. This one is about our main character, Twinkle, who is in high school. She's an Indian American teenage girl in high school. She's an aspiring film director, hence the camera. And so really it starts off with you finding out about her and her best friend Maddie. So her and her friend Maddie have been best friends for years. I think since like kindergarten or around there, like somewhere around there. They've been best friends for years. Now they're in high school, and Maddie recently joins a more popular crowd where Twinkle feels invisible in the school. She's not popular whatsoever, and she feels that Maddie pretty much ditches her to go and hang out with the more popular girls. Also you find out Maddie is rich and Twinkle is not at all. So Twinkle believes that if her and Neil, the most popular guy in school, start to date, like she believes that they got together, then her and Maddie will be on like the same social level and will be best friends again. Like Maddie will want to be best friends with her again. Also at school is an arts festival. It's called Midsummer Night or something like that. Yeah, Midsummer Night. And Twinkle decides to create a film for this festival. And she teams up with Sahil, which is Neil's twin brother. And he's like the more geeky guy, where Neil, of course, is like the more popular. He's like the one in sports, you know. I don't know if he's actually a quarterback, but you know, he's like the jock and he's always in the spotlight, where Sahil is not. And Sahil feels like he's always in his shadow. So Sahil and Twinkle team up to make this movie, and Maddie makes this comment because Maddie knows what Twinkle Maddie knows that Twinkle wants to get with Neil, and she does. I don't know if she really knows if Twinkle wants to get with Neil because of Maddie, like to become best friends with Maddie again, or she just believes that that's a crush. I'm pretty sure she just believes it's a crush, but I'm not entirely sure. I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't believe she knows the real reason why Twinkle wants to get with Neil. But she makes this comment where, you know, like, oh, Twinkle, you're going to hang out with Sahil a lot. It'll get you an in with Neil, pretty much. And oh my god. You could tell Sahil has a huge crush on her. And you also tell throughout the story that Twinkle starts to fall for Sahil. She starts to develop feelings for him, but she's fighting it because she believes she has to be with Neil. There's so many things about this book that just like really unnerved me, like really set me off. The part about Twinkle needing to be with Neil so her and Maddie can be best friends again. So every time they called Neil Twinkle's crush, that set me off. That pissed me off. I was like, that's not her crush. She's using him to, you know, to become more popular so she could be with Maddie again. I know, like, she doesn't truly want to be popular. She just wants Maddie to be her friend again. And also, Maddie is a shitty friend. Pardon my French. But I'm sorry. I hated Maddie throughout this entire book. And I guess I wasn't a huge fan of Twinkle either, but I still don't like Maddie. And there were parts that I was okay with, like Twinkle was okay, Twinkle was fine. But then like through half of the book, and they touch on it, Twinkle she just goes off. And she becomes this whole nother character, and I really didn't like her throughout like half of this book. I also did not like her and Sahil, because every time her and Sahil were together, yes, she was developing feelings for Sahil, but she was fighting it because she needed to be with Neil. And man, did that just piss me off. Also, Twinkle gets these emails from a secret admirer, signed N. So of course she believes it's a Neil. And does she tell Sahil? Oh my god. So, yeah. There are a lot of things that really set me off with this book. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. I really thought I was going to love this book, and I didn't. What I did enjoy, though, was the fact that this was told in, like, diary format. These were diary entries that, instead of Twinkle writing these diary entries, like Dear Diary, or, you know, she wrote to her favorite female film directors. So, like, Sofia Coppola, Ava DuVernay, I think that's how you say her name. Oh my god, I can't even find some of these. Yeah, there's Ava DuVernay. Jane Campion, I think that's how you say her name. I'm not entirely sure. And also you get a little bit from Sahil, like his blog posts and texts between him and his friends. I did enjoy that format. I just didn't enjoy Twinkle or her friend Maddie. And can you really call Maddie her friend? I'm sorry. I get that this is high school, and, you know, when I was in high school, I would do anything to keep my friend as well, because I didn't really have any friends, and I know what it's like to sit alone at lunch and to feel like crap doing it. Like, there's nobody in the world that wants to be your friend, and I know how it feels, because that happened to me, and I know what it's like to want to keep any friend that you can, you know, that you have. So you would do anything to keep your friend, but I don't believe that Maddie deserved that, you know, that level of, not commitment, but you know what I mean. Like, she just didn't deserve Twinkle's desperation, commitment, I don't know. But yeah, I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I originally gave this a 4, but I believe that it's more of a 3.5. There were things that I liked about this. I did really enjoy the movie, the film aspect. They were doing a gender bend of Dracula, where all the male characters from Dracula are now female, and all the female characters from Dracula are now male. So that was really good. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up, I have Love and Luck by Jenna Evans Walsh, and this is the sequel/companion to Love and Gelato, which I read last year as well and loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars too. That story follows Lena, where this one follows her best friend Addie. And Addie and her family are in Ireland visiting her, or they're there for her aunt's wedding. And while they're there, like after the wedding, Addie and her brother Ian have plans to go to Italy so she can be with Lena. They can hang out with Lena for a little while before they have to go back to the States. Something happened to Addie back in the States before they left for Ireland. She suffered something really heartbreaking, and it like put a wedge between her and her brother Ian. They used to be like the best of friends. Her and Ian were best friends, as well as her only two friends, like best friends, were Ian and Lena. And Lena's in Italy, and now she lost Ian to this thing that happened in the States. And her and Ian are always fighting now, and oh my god. So it's not good. Actually, one of the things that happened was while they're in Ireland for this wedding, Addie pushes Ian off a cliff. Just gonna leave that there. Yeah. I listened to the audiobook for this and I laughed so hard. There were so many points to this that made me laugh and I loved it. So also what happens is, instead of going to, like, Addie is all for going to Italy, but Ian decides to go on this road trip in Ireland with a friend that he met online a year before, and go meet his favorite band. They're having their final concert, and he really wants to go see that. So instead of going to Italy with Addie, he makes plans for this road trip. And when Addie finds out, she's pissed. Because they're fighting, their mom has threatened them that if they screw up anything, if one of them screws up, both of them are in trouble for it. So when Addie finds out about this, she's not happy. She's like, we're gonna get in so much trouble. We're both gonna be in trouble, and this isn't good. They go on this road trip with this Irish stranger, pretty much. Ian knows him from online, but Addie has never even heard of him. And, yeah. Of course, Addie decides to go on the road trip at first to stop Ian, like, to try and change his mind. That does not seem to happen. Does not happen. She ends up going on this road trip with him throughout the whole thing. And it's so good. I loved it. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I thought this was a great companion. This didn't have, like, any romance, really. There were a few things that were sort of romantic at the very end and the very beginning. And, of course, you find out what happened in the States. Or, you find out what happened in the States, which is, like, yeah, I'm not gonna say. But that was sort of like a romance and then heartbreak. But at the very end, there's, like, a little hint of romance between her and somebody, which I really enjoyed. But I think I just really loved the fact that this was more of a friendship story and a friendship between her and her brother, which I really loved. And again, I listened to the audiobook and it was so good. I laughed so hard through some of these parts. It was so good. I loved the narrator. I'm so sorry because I cannot remember who the narrator was, but it was really good and I really enjoyed it. Alright, last up we have The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. I think I'm saying that right. This is about a 30-year-old woman named Stella. She has Asperger's, so she is on the autism spectrum. Oops. And she has this job that has to do with economics. I'm not entirely sure. I don't like math, guys. I do not like math. So she loves this job. She loves it so much. It's right up her alley. She loves it. The only thing that isn't going well for her is the whole dating department. She's not good with other people. She doesn't really know what to say to them. She doesn't believe she's any good at sex. And yeah. So because of that, she really wants to please her mother and start dating this one guy that works in her department, or her, at her job. So she decides to hire this escort, Michael, and she wants him to pretty much teach her to be better at, like, the whole sex thing and the whole dating thing, and it's just so good. This is definitely an adult book. Definitely has some really sexy, steamy scenes. So if you're not comfortable with sex, do not pick up this book. But it was so fantastic. Another book that I listened to, an audiobook, and another book, I don't remember who the narrator was, but I love the narrator for this. So good. Every time the narrator would switch the voice to Michael, like, she would have a whole other voice for Michael. And I loved it. I loved it so much. Yeah, of course, Stella and Michael start to become more than what they're supposed to, and there's so much more to Michael than you find out, and I loved it. I did feel like I was missing. I really wanted certain things to happen that didn't happen, which was okay. I mean, not everything can happen the way I picture it in my head, but there was some things that I would have loved to happen that didn't. But it's fine. I still gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I would love a, like, novella. I would love a novella. Like, I think this already has an epilogue, but I would love, like, a novella giving me just a little bit more. I just want more. If I could get a full-blown out sequel, that would be amazing. If I can get a whole sequel to this, that would be fine, too. I love this book. This was fantastic. And I didn't care about the whole math thing. I didn't need to know about the whole math thing. It was so much more than that. It was such a beautiful romance. I wasn't expecting this book at all. I just saw this. People were talking about it, so I decided to pick it up. I got it with my book of the month. I got it with my book of the month box. And, oh my god. So fantastic. 5 out of 5 freaking stars, and I loved it. Okay. That was all the books that I read in the first couple weeks of June. Now let's talk about all the books that I've decided to pick up since then and can't seem to, continue on. Alright, first we have An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. You already know everything about these. I'm not really going to go into these. But, yeah. I mean, I decided to pick this up because everyone was talking about it. I got this and A Torch Against the Night in these really nice floppy paperbacks. I thought I could start carrying this around, but this doesn't fit well in my bag. I mean, it fits. It just fits. Just. But, I mean, it doesn't fit well. I mean, like, I feel like I'm putting too much weight on it. So I decided to stop carrying it in my bag. So that has since hence stopped the reading. But I got 54 pages into it. I'm on chapter 7, 54 pages in. I have read this book before, but this would be a reread. And I really wanted to reread it, so, yeah. Next up, I just recently picked up this, My Not So Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella again. I don't even know where I'm at, because I was sort of listening to the audiobook, but I think I'm actually only, I think I was 28 pages into this before, like because I had started to read it before and then I stopped reading it, but now I guess I'm only like 10 pages, yeah, like 10 pages in now since I started to reread it. Well, I picked up the audiobook and I'm not liking the audiobook because, first off, I'm not even on chapter 2 yet. Chapter 2 isn't for another, let's see, I think chapter 2 was page 29. That's why I stopped reading it at 28, at 29. So I still have another, 19 pages, and the audiobook tells me I'm on chapter 6. There's like 142 chapters in this book. And it just has really, really short chapters, like short, like little scenes to give me like so many chapters. And I don't like that. I can't really follow along. Like, if I decide to listen in my car and then come back home and I literally have to search from where I'm at. Because I don't like that. So I don't think I'm going to continue on with the audiobook, but I still want to pick up this. Because it is on my, it is one of the 12 to read for the year, so I do technically have to finish this month. We'll see. Next up, I picked up Circe by Madeline Miller. This is another book of the month book that I decided to pick up. Julie over at Pages and Pens is doing, she is doing a, buddy read for this week. Technically, I think Friday is the last day for it, so by the time this goes up, that will since be over. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, because right now I should be on, like, page 237, I think. Like, by the end of today, I should be on page 237. You want to tell me if I'm there? I'm on chapter 2. I'm 14 pages in. There's no way I'm going to be able to continue with this. Maybe if I'd started on Monday when we were supposed to, I could have been doing it. But I didn't even know about it until, I think it was Monday afternoon. And I think it was Monday afternoon. But I had so many plans to do, so there was no way I was going to be able to do it. I am loving the first 14 pages, but I can't do it. I can't keep up, so that's not gonna happen, but I definitely still want to continue on with this. And then lastly, I just picked this up, is Listen to Your Heart by Casey West. I picked this up like last week. I've been wanting to read it, so that's what I decided to do. This also has an audiobook on, because I signed up for Scribd. I think that's how you say it, Scribd, something like that. I signed up for that. So, you know, you pay $8.99 a month and you get unlimited audiobooks and ebooks and everything. And this has an audiobook, so I started to listen to that early this morning before I left. And I did not like it. I did not like the narrator's voice. So that's why I decided to pick up this one, because this one also has an audiobook on there, which I also don't seem to like. So yeah, I'm going to stop listening to the audiobook for both of them and just continue to read them both physically, and hopefully I could find an audiobook that I like. We shall see. But I am on chapter 5, page 34. And I'm enjoying it. This one has to do with like a podcast and everything, and I kind of like those. So yeah, these are, let me grab them. Oh, sorry, you can see my messy bookshelves. Alright, so these are the 4 books that I have since read the last couple of weeks of the month, and these are the 4 books. Oh my god, did not realize I had that there. That was from Listen to Your Heart. These are the 4 books that I am currently reading for now. I don't know if I'll be able to complete all of these soon. I hope so. I really, really need to read more. I feel like I haven't read a thing on my TBR, which, okay, let's see. These 3 were from my TBR. So these are ones that I've read. Kiss Quotient was not from my TBR. I just really wanted to pick it up, so I did. And again, it was an audiobook, so it was fine. And these 2 are from my TBR. So out of the 10 on my TBR, I have 5 right here. So it's not too bad. I just feel like I'm not reading enough. And I have some big books on this month's, yeah, I thought I could do it. I don't know if I'll be able to. We'll see. I'm not going to stress out about it. I feel like I stressed out about it for the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to stop. Because if I continue to stress out about it, it's literally going to be, I'm going to burn myself out of everything. I'm just going to feel so stressed that I'm going to put myself back into a reading slump, which I did like last month, and I'm sort of feeling that reading slump where I can't find anything that I want to read, but I'm liking all of these books, okay? I really am liking all of them. I'm just not feeling them right now. This one I feel like I'm feeling more than any of the others, but we'll see. Hopefully I'll be able to read all 4 of those and get into something else. So yeah, that is it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this mid-month wrap-up, and I will see you again with another video. Bye!